Looking for the best in authentic Maltese cuisine? Then you need to dine at Georgie's on Vista. Situated in the heart of Fraser Eyes, you can't go wrong when it comes to family dining. We have a menu for mum and dad, one for the kids, and one for seniors. Everyone's taken care of. Don't miss our specialty nights. Tuesday night is Parma night, where you get to choose from not one, but 5 different Parmas. Wednesday night, kids eat free with every paying adult meal. Thursday night is Members Night, where members get the chance to win some great prizes. And Friday night, join us for happy hour between 5:30pm to 7:30pm. Jim, Johnny, Jack and their little brother Schooner are only $5 each. Looking to get an early start Friday afternoon for a punt? Our sports bar with TAB is open from 3pm Friday afternoons. To book your table, email info@georgiesonvista.com.au. Bring the family and come dine at Georgie's on Vista, 46 City Vista Court, Fraser Eyes, Plumpton.
Under new management, the Sunbury Elite Indoor Sports Centre is proud to provide the wider Sunbury community with a whole new fresh look and feel. Covering all forms of indoor sports from indoor soccer, cricket, netball, yoga, Pilates, darts, golf, and especially our all-new Sunbury Futsal League, the Sunbury Elite Indoor Sports Centre has something for every sports enthusiast. Young budding footballers who are looking to improve their skills come in and register or trial with Sunbury City Futsal Club, coached by the highly accredited George Dibb. Be a part of one of the fastest growing sports in Australia and become a part of the new futsal pathway by representing Sunbury City Futsal Club at the upcoming Football Victoria Futsal League state titles in April. For a full overview of all that Sunbury Elite Indoor Sports Centre has to offer, please visit our website www.sunburyindoorsports.com.au, like our Facebook page or call us on 0448 445 406. Good evening and a very warm welcome to you wherever you may be. It is episode 52 of the Football Outwear Show. It's a big one tonight. It's going to be a huge one, and bringing it live as he does every week alongside me, Craig Keilor. Good evening, Craig. How are you?
Good evening, Tonci. Good evening, listeners. Hope everybody's well. Everybody's had a great week. And more importantly, Tonci, had a fantastic first weekend of football last weekend.
Oh, how good was it? How good was it? It's hectic. It's crazy. We've got the NPL, we've got the state leagues, we've got the Women's Nike FC Cup, NPL Juniors at the moment. It's all happening, and the community side of things hasn't even started. That'll happen after Easter. But, mate, I'm telling you, and like I'm telling everyone else, I'm not complaining. Are you?
No, absolutely not. Look, last week was fantastic. You know, it was just nice to get back out and see proper football. All day Saturday, all day Sunday. Seeing the junior NPL boys playing on Sunday in horrendous weather, and conversely, you look at Saturday and it was 27 degrees, and we're out there in the sun all day. But yeah, who cares about the rain? It was good to see the football back.
Absolutely. Victoria has got perfect weather if we're going to compare ourselves to some of our northern states.
Absolutely.
Well, we better not speak too soon. We did that with regards to lockdown, and look where that got us. So hopefully it's all smooth sailing in many, many ways. Tonight, restrictions get further eased. So that is that means now that fans across Victoria have got no excuse to turn up to the games in their thousands. Yeah. And tonight, mate, it all gets kicked off up at Oakley Cannons when they take on the West's Green Gully. That's a big game. And we'll be later on crossing over to one of our good buddies, our old panel operator from the old Football Nation radio days, Josh Parrish, who's going to be commentating that. I'm looking forward to catching up with Josh, albeit over the I don't know, the screens, I suppose.
Yeah, no, it'll be good to speak to him. I haven't spoken to him for a while. I'm sure if we can get a word in edgeways, because he is at Oakley Cannons, and you know what they do at Oakley Cannons, Tonch?
Eat souvlaki's, and apparently very, very good ones.
On his third by now. But if you ever get a chance to go to Oakley, you must try the souvlaki. They are the best souvlaki I've ever tasted.
Absolutely. Now, mate, we've got some great guests. When we say guests, we've got heaps of guests tonight. Who have we got on the show a little later on, and who should we just be excited and salivating over the prospect of talking to them about the weekend action?
Yeah, look, we're trying to mix it up a little bit this week, Tonch, and trying to give some focus on girls and ladies football, especially with it being the Nike FC Cup weekend as well. So we've got Galaxy United head coach Rob CASHA, who's going to join us shortly. And then we've got Ivan HERCEG, who's the North Geelong Warriors ladies coach. North Geelong Warriors played in the Geelong Community League for a number of years, and this year have got an opportunity to step back into state league football. So it'll be really interesting to get his take on that. They have a big game coming up on the weekend in the Nike Cup. Against our next guest, who is Louis TRAJCEVSKI, who is the ladies' coach at Keilor Park. So we'll be having different views from both sides of the fence as they look forward to their weekend. Then we'll cross over to speak to Josh. And hopefully everything's well with Josh. And then finally, we're going to go back into men's football, and we're going to speak to the president of Altona East Soccer Club, LEIGH, who's going to come on and talk to us about everything going on involved in Altona East Soccer Club.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Big shout out to our episode sponsor tonight. It's Sunbury Elite Indoor Sports. Paul de Blasi, very, very well-known man around Sunbury United's football club, and also in the Sunbury community. Big shout out to Paul. Also to our major sponsor for season 2021, the George Cross Football Club. Lots happening at the Georgies on Vista and the George Cross Fraser Rise ground this weekend. But, mate, let's get straight into the NPL results. So the NPL, a lot was happening, and we're going to go straight into the NPL results. There we go. Let's look at some of the main. Hello.
Yeah, you're back. There we go.
Yeah.
Sorry, you said.
So the NPL results we got there on screen. Melbourne Knights defeating Hume City 3-0, the pick of the results there. That allowed the Knights, Craig, to go to the top of the ladder, and that's pretty good. That's a pretty good kind of a what's the word? A place to be if you're the Knights. There we go. There's the ladder.
Yeah, look, I watched that game on NPL Victoria, and I have to say it was a pretty drab match, to be fair. However, the game turned with a sending off for Hume City it was around the 60th minute, and Knights obviously took advantage of that very, very quickly and ended up running out 3-0 winners. So Melbourne Knights onto a good start for the league. Conversely, Hume City are probably not where they normally are down there in ninth, having only won one game out of the 4 games they've played. So, Port Melbourne Sharks and South Melbourne, a scoreless draw. Green Gully was a surprise one for me, Tonch.
Wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
They relinquished top spot with that loss.
Yeah, they lost top spot, but they've got an opportunity to get back on top this evening with their away game down at Oakley Cannons. But Heidelberg two wins on the bounce after beating Altona Magic the week before, which I was lucky enough to commentate on. And they've certainly got their mojo back and won their last 2 games.
And look at that, Avondale destroying Dandenong City 4-1. Dandenong City on the foot of the ladder, but I guess more importantly from a Western Suburbs point of view, Avondale now moving up the ladder. Altona Magic, there's some news there. They lost to Oakley Cannons 1-0, but there's supposedly a little bit of turbulence off the field, Craig, and you know something that we don't.
Yeah, well, look, it hasn't been officially announced, but, rumours, and we'll say they are only rumours at this stage because it hasn't been officially announced. But Altona Magic released their coach after the defeat last weekend, John Markowski, after just 4 games, has been shown the door down there at Paisley Park, which is somewhat of a surprise, given they're only four games in, and the amount of players that have come through that club through pre-season. I think you'd be silly enough to think that it's going to gel straight away and they're going to win all the games. So I think it's a bit of a strange decision, but hey, I'm not the guy that pumps them into the club. So
maybe we can ask their near neighbour, the Paisley Park co-tenants Altona East Phoenix. Their president will be on a little later on in the show, Lee Carra. So he might know something that's been happening over the neighbours' back fence. But there's the ladder. The Knights on top, Green Gully second, Avondale FC third, St Albans Saints fifth. So I just
want to touch on that one, Tonch, because again they played last weekend, and I watched that game as well. And I have to say, not many teams go to Bentley and get a result. St Albans did a fantastic job of really causing Bentley problems. They got men behind the ball looking for the breakaway goal, which they had plenty of opportunities, but fantastic result away to Bentley Greens. And we talk about St Albans at the start of the season maybe having a real tough season because of all the changes at the club in terms of faces on the field. But here we are after round 4, and they're sitting in a very healthy 5th place, Tonch.
Yeah, absolutely. Which brings us now to the fixtures for so top 4 out of the 4 out of the top 5 sides are from the West. So go the West. There's the fixtures for tonight. Very, very quickly, we'll talk about Oakley Cannons and Green Gully a little later on. The big one tomorrow, and Josh will also be giving us a bit of an insight into that because he is commentating on the 3:15 p.m. game at Avenger Park, Avondale versus the Knights. And then straight after that, St Albans at Churchill Reserve taking on the Eastern Lions. There's another opportunity for them to do really well. But look at that one at Paisley Park. Altona Magic against South Melbourne. Big day of football coming up in the NPL competition, particularly for the Western suburban teams, Craig.
Yeah, no, very own Steve Curtin will be commentating on that Magic South Melbourne game tomorrow evening. So if you do want to tune in, you can tune in via the NPL Victoria Facebook page, and they'll be streaming every game live starting this evening with the Oakley Cannons Green Gully game.
Yeah, fantastic. All right, moving along to the NPL 2 division. They played their first round last week, mate. Take us through some of the main results, and then we'll look at the fixtures for this week.
Yeah, we'll just go through the results because there's not that many of them, Tont. So Pascoe defeating Moreland Zebras at home 3-0. Brunswick City defeating Moreland Zebras 2-1. Lamwarren defeating Manningham Blues 2-1 in the same scoreline. Down at Elko Park, the Warriors drew 3-3 with Northcote. Golden Valley Suns had a 2-0 victory at home to FC Bulleen Lions, and on Monday evening, Kingston City defeated Werribee City 4-1 down at Kingston Reserve there.
Fixtures for round 2 coming up this weekend. The Moreland Zebras take on North Geelong Warriors. Now, Craig, that's going to be an interesting one because it's a bit of a chance for the Warriors to exact some revenge on the Zebras, because last year in the FFA Cup, just prior to the COVID outbreak,
last year,
the Zebras did defeat the Warriors 2-0 in this fixture. So this will be an opportunity for the Warriors to exact some revenge on the Zebras. Dario Vidosic, ex-Socceroo, has signed for the Zebras. Adding a little bit of, international razzmatazz, I suppose, to that fixture. But North Geelong Warriors, a very, very young side, and making his league debut, not his senior debut, but league debut for the North Geelong Warriors was one Luka Skorkor, the son of a famous ex-Socceroo Josip Skorkor.
Yeah, look, they are a very young squad, North Geelong. I think the average age is less than 21, which is phenomenal, really, when you think of senior football, especially at the NPL level of where they are. But yeah, Luke has been around for a while around that senior setup. He's a very talented young lad, and he did very well actually last week. I'd probably have him in my top 3 players of the game last week. And it was a tough game for them. Being 1-0 down very early and then clawing their way back into it, and unfortunately coming away with probably a 2 points lost in the coach's eyes there. But yeah, tomorrow's game is going to be an opportunity for revenge from the FFA Cup Round 5 game from a few years ago up there at CB Smith Reserve.
Yeah, and I guess the other point to make is that on Monday night, Bulleen Lions taking on Pascoe Vale at the Veneto Club there in Bulleen. That will be the televised game. Let's move along very quickly to some of the results in NPL 3, Craig.
Yeah, look, we'll start off with a big one, and it's if you haven't seen it, get onto the Preston Lions Facebook page and. Somebody posted on there. It's fantastic to see that club, and I haven't been privy to see them before in at this level. But 2,500 at the game against Melbourne City, and what a fantastic first result in NPL football for Preston Lions, coming away with a 2-1 home victory against the probably much fancied Melbourne City Football Club. Tonge.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, Josh Parrish was involved with the Preston Lions from a podcast point of view. So he's involved with their club podcast. So he'll be telling us a little bit more about it. But from all accounts, it was 2,500, 3,000. I heard up as far as 3,000. At the moment, one half of their grandstand has been demolished to make way for a multi-million-dollar new facility. They've got brand new lights. They've got a brand new electronic scoreboard. Preston is a club that doesn't belong in NPL 3. They belong in NPL. And the sooner they get up to NPL, the better. But, another big result there. Doveton, 5-1 on the road to Whittlesea Rangers. Geelong, they were 2-0 down against North Sunshine Eagles, another newly promoted club out at that was at Stead Park, and they came back to win 4-2. So a great result there by another Macedonian-backed club in Geelong Soccer Club.
Yeah, I think North Sunshine had a player sent off as well, which probably. So, but fair play for them for coming back 2-0 and finishing off with a 4-2 win. So
turning our attention now to the fixtures. Now tonight, Springvale White Eagles take on Preston Lions at the City Vista Reserve. Don't know how they managed that, but obviously for whatever reason, their ground was unavailable, and of course they moved their ground across the city to Caroline Springs. But City Vista Recreational Reserve, home of our major sponsors, Caroline Springs George Cross, is going to play host to. I'm sure that will attract a very, very big crowd tonight.
Yeah, look, I would imagine there's going to be thousands up there watching that. And that is the team on NPL Victoria this evening, Todd. So, again, if you're not lucky enough to get to City Vista Reserve and you want to watch Preston live, then tune in tonight on the NPL Victoria's page from 8:15.
Righto. And look at that. The big A-League derby, Melbourne Victory versus Western United, but it's the next generation, I suppose. But I tell you what, the way Melbourne Victory are going at the moment in the A-League, there's probably half of that NPL 3 team should be drafted into the senior A-League side, Craig.
No comment.
Absolutely no comment.
I will say on Western United last week, they came down. They were losing at 1.2. I think there was only about 10 minutes left to Box Hill, and ended up winning their first competitive game in NPL 3-2-1. So great start for last week's guest and obviously Western United Football Club.
Yeah. Now let's very, very quickly, let's have a look at the State League 1. We'll have a look at State League 1 and then maybe we might go to our first guest.
Yeah.
But State League 1, this is the one that we've got a lot of interest for because it's going to be a hotly contested one. There's 4 or 5 teams that could quite easily win this. And I guess, unfortunately, for a lot of the clubs, it's only one team that will get promoted into NPL 3.
At the moment, it's one club, Tom. They could potentially go back to 2, but at this moment, it is 1, yeah.
How would that happen if they have 4 teams relegated from NPL 3?
Yeah, no idea at this stage.
Or unless a couple of teams pull out.
Yeah, no idea.
Anyway, looking at some of those results. Brimbank Stallions 1-0 winners over Essendon Royals. That would have been a tough game. Look at that. Caroline Springs 2-0 winners over Sydenham Park. Both those teams are expected to do really well. But I guess the one that was quite maybe surprises us all is Corayo's performance, where they probably should have. They were 2-1 up, and then Altona City equalised late in the game at Kim Reserve. But a lot of pundits expecting Corayo to struggle. And in fact, we have got the Corayo Soccer Club match analyst Joey Giacomazzo in the comments section. And he's an avid viewer of this show. But a pleasant surprise there, Craig. Maybe, just maybe, Corayo might do reasonably well.
Yeah, look, they brought in a few players over the last couple of weeks, which is obviously going to help them. We'll wait to see how that goes. They've had a few players back from injury, so watch this space. But the other big one for me, and you certainly wouldn't be calling in for a tip if you were a betting man, but you wouldn't be calling Paul Donnelly, who was on the show last week and said it's a nailed on 0-0 result for Yarraville against Banyule, which is a strange one because they actually scored 2 goals. So
there you go. Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. No, there's some very, very tight results there. There were no blowouts at all. And the biggest winning margin in 4 of those games. The biggest winning margin was Caroline Springs' 2-0 win over Sydenham Park. But in other games, it was only 1 goal. So let's quickly move along now to the fixtures. Corayo taking on Clifton Hill in their first State 1 game at Hume Reserve. Yarraville taking on Altona City. Banyule City hosting Sydenham Park. Caroline Springs George Cross hosting Fitzroy City tomorrow at City Vista. So City Vista really is coming alive this weekend. Keilor Park at home to Essendon Royals, and Whittlesea United hosting Brimbank Stallions. Mate, which one do you think is the pick of the bunch there?
Yeah, there's some good games in there, Tonch. I'm going to go with the Yarraville Glory and Altona City, the Hobson Bay Derby. They always have a very, very fiery encounter.
Yep.
I'm sure it'll be exactly the same tomorrow. So it'll be really interesting. I'm gonna have a sneaky little bet for Yarraville to win that one 2-1. Excellent.
That's a good one. For me, I would have to say that 2 teams that I think figure prominently will be Keilor Park and Essendon Royals. I think that's going to be an interesting game. But I'm really looking forward to seeing Caroline Springs George Cross up against Fitzroy City. Fitzroy City, there was a lot of I guess last year with the proposed merger with Richmond Soccer Club, not really sure of what was heading there. A little bit of instability, but in the end, they've retained their identity. But they're up against, definitely one of the favourites. Now, Caroline Springs, early in the piece, cannot afford to lose any points, especially at home. So this is a must-win game for Caroline Springs.
Yeah, look, I think they started well last week, beating Sydenham Park. That was always going to be a tight affair, but they came away with a 2-0 win, and things will be looking good for Eric and his squad.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, mate. Are we going to now go to our first caller for this, or first guest, I suppose, if you like? Have we?
Yeah, we'll look to get him on. Just waiting for him to come on. Give us a couple of seconds, and hopefully he'll be ready.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Now, in the meantime, what we'll do is we'll quickly have a look at the go back to the NPL. So we'll go back to the NPL and the fixtures coming up.
We actually got him on. If you want to cross.
Have we got him on? All right, there's the NPL 4. We'll go back to that a little bit later on, but let's go straight away. Have we got Rob CASHA on the line?
Hey, Tom. How you going, mate?
Good, mate. Good. This is the Galaxy. Of course, it is the Galaxy coach himself. Mate, it's happening. We're finally going to get some football action on the field. It has been a long, long time between drinks and Galaxy. Obviously, this is you're entering the Nike FC Cup at this stage now in the round 2 stage. How are things looking down there at Stead Park?
They're looking quite. We've basically rebuilt our team since COVID's kicked in, so it's just great to be on the pitch. We're preparing pretty well. We've got a young team, so it's fiery and it's quite ready to go. So,
And what's the average age of the side down there, Rob?
our team's quite young. It would be very similar to North's men. It would be 21.
Yeah.
There's 17-year-old girls. There's 17, 18, 19. But then you've got maybe 2 or 3 girls only over the age of 25, so they bump the age average up. But it'd be a team of 21s, really.
Yeah.
Now, Rob, I guess at the end of 2019, Galaxy then was taken out of the NPLW competition, and then last year was supposed to enter the newly formed Victorian Premier League Women's, which obviously now will be see the light of day in 2021. When the decision was made, I guess, by Football Victoria, did that then mean a lot of the older players left the club, and you were forced to blood some of the younger players? And I guess looking back in it, was that a blessing in disguise for the club to be able to be in that position to blood some of those talented youngsters?
I wouldn't say it was a blessing, but
we're trying to look at the best things, I suppose. The positive.
Be relegated. It's never nice to be relegated without actually underperforming. So, so simple answer. Have we been affected? Yeah, there isn't a single player from our NPL generation still at the club.
Wow.
Seniors. So, actually, sorry, I lie. There's one. There's Christy Merries in the club. We've brought one of those players back, which is Imogen Pratt. But apart from that, yeah, everyone else is from the former under-19s and has come through the system. And to be fair, the system's quite good. What's coming through, we probably need 1 to 2 seasons to blood these kids, and then with what's coming through in the next couple of years, I think you'll find Galaxy to be very different out indeed.
Just from my side, Rob, and I've known you for a number of years now, predominantly through the men's football down at Surf Coast. But what are the main differences that you find coaching your men's football, where you had a state League 4 team, against now obviously the girls? What's the obviously there's a lot of difference in technical abilities, but what's the sort of the positives and the negatives of both, if you can?
It's not a tough question, but it's a detailed question. I think you'll find with female players, they'll ask more of the why you're doing what you're doing. You can explain yourself a lot better in detail. Not because the men just decide to run through a brick wall. The women will run through the brick wall, but they want to know why. So it's you actually have to have a calmer demeanour.
Absolutely.
It's a completely different style of coaching. Whereas I'm doing the 15 boys at Geelong Soccer Club now with Kieran, and I can say to those boys, I need you to run 150 miles per hour at that player and make sure he doesn't score. Whereas with women, they'll want to know why. Or,
but do you find that the girls sort of tend to listen more and want to improve sort of more so than the boys?
Yeah, they do. They do. I find that the boys that I've got they're a great group, but the female players, they're focused on like, if you tell them to bend a run, they will literally bend the run. And they want to know why they're doing it, and then when they can actually see why they're doing it, they'll keep doing it because they know it's effective. Whereas with a male player, they might do it once or twice, but then they might go back to a dead straight run, and the other team will play out or whatever. It's just I found coaching men at low state league level, they tend to the focus switches off and you have to refocus them all the time.
Yeah.
female players, they take in what you want to hear, and they implement it as best as they can. And as long as they implement it as best as you can't ask for any more.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Rob, on Monday night we had on our sister program, the Geelong Region Soccer Show. It was a Galaxy United themed program. We had Branko Kristevsky, the president, and also your captain, Emily Sutcliffe. Now, Emily dropped the bombshell that she's not going to be in on Sunday's game against Mornington. She's going away for a planned holiday. Will she be missed? And have you got players who are going to take her spot and step up and replace her in that kind of attacking position?
Yeah, Emily will be missed for sure. She'll be missed. But saying that we've played a couple of games without her because she's had a little bit of injury during pre-season. So we've had some young players step into her position and they've done the job. So will she be missed? Absolutely. Will we use it as an excuse if we come second on the weekend? No.
And it would be a big miss because she's played at a very good level back in the UK in God's country there in Wales.
And she's Welsh.
Absolutely. So, yeah, absolutely.
Rob, we can't get away from these Welsh people, can we? No, it's good.
My grandfather was Welsh. So
there you go. See what I mean? But getting back to the game, though, Mornington, now they did defeat another Geelong team in the Deakin Ducks last weekend. And a couple of the folk from Galaxy United happened to be there to watch the game. It was, I suppose, watching it more out of solidarity than anything. But as coincidence would have it, the following day when the draw was done, Mornington was the team pulled out. So you've got a pretty good idea of how to take the game up to Mornington, do you?
We actually have video footage which we use.
Yes.
Things that we need to work on. So, yeah. We prepared quite well.
And where do you think they will be the most dangerous, I guess?
You don't expect me to answer.
Of course not. So, you're going to say in attack, in defence, this and that, whatever. He should be a politician. When he hangs up the coaching boots, I tell you what, or the whiteboard, the man should go for politics there. I tell you what. Next question.
Yeah, look, we we'll leave it there, Tonci, because we got a load to get through tonight, and it was great to get you on board, Rob, and it's always nice to speak to you as a football person, mate. And I suppose we wish you all the very best tomorrow against Mornington and with your under-15 boys on Sunday. Who are the under-15s playing Sunday? Saturday they're in Bendigo. Yeah, okay.
Saturday they're at Avondale Lights.
Yeah, and how would
Can I just wish all the Geelong teams that are playing tomorrow the best of luck, because I mean you've got to admit, with all these Geelong teams that are still in the cup, the clubs are doing an amazing job in women's
Absolutely,
football.
Yeah.
That's a very good point. And we're going to have one of those coaches, Ivan HERCEG from the North Geelong Warriors, joining us shortly. He'll be joining us after the break. But in the meantime, Rob, all the very, very best to you, not only to you and the Galaxy women, not only just for Sunday's game, but also for the rest of 2021.
Cheers. Thank you, gentlemen. Thanks for having me.
No problem. All the best, Rob.
Yes.
Okay. You're listening to and we're tuning into the Football Outwear Show. It is episode 52. Don't go away. We'll be back straight after this break. Under new management, the Sunbury Indoor Sports Centre is proud to provide the wider Sunbury community with a whole new fresh look and feel. Covering all forms of indoor sports from indoor soccer, cricket, netball, yoga, Pilates, darts, golf, and especially our all-new Sunbury Futsal League, the Sunbury Elite Indoor Sports Centre has something for every sports enthusiast. Young budding footballers who are looking to improve their skills come in and register or trial with Sunbury City Futsal Club, coached by the highly accredited George Dibb. Be a part of one of the fastest growing sports in Australia and become a part of the new futsal pathway by representing Sunbury City Futsal Club at the upcoming Football Victoria Futsal League state titles in April. For a full overview of all that Sunbury Elite Indoor Sports Centre has to offer, please visit our website www.sunburyindoorsports.com.au, like our Facebook page or call us on 0448
445 406.
Welcome back to the Football Out West show program. It is episode 52. My name is Tonci Prusak. Next to me is Craig Keilor, and we've got a lot of guests to get through tonight. Craig, have we got our next guest on the line?
We certainly do, Tonch, and he's a friend of yours from. I've just been told he's trying to level up the scores with the Croatian. So we've got two Croatians, and we've spoken about the Welsh. We've got Ivan from North Geelong Warriors Ladies. Ivan, are you there?
Yes, I am, Craig. G'day, Tonci.
How are you, Ivan? How are you? Good to see. Well, we can't see you, but it's good to hear your voice, mate. Football is back, and we're talking Nike FC Cup. And on the weekend, the North Geelong Warriors will come up against a State League 1 team, Keilor Park, at home at Alco Park. A twilight game, 5 p.m. kickoff. Mate, you guys have had a fantastic run so far. Can the magical run continue?
Look, I'd like to say yes, of course. Certainly from the games that we've played thus far, and even prior to that, we've certainly been in reasonable shape. Well into pre-season now, and certainly having full competitive games at that level, using the Nike Cup to benefit for your preparation for the season. I think we're in reasonable shape.
Yeah, and I was lucky enough to watch your game against. I'm just trying to think who it was in your first round. You played Hampton.
Yeah,
East Brighton, was it?
Hampton, East Brighton, that's right.
It was a horrible afternoon, if you remember. It absolutely threw it down for the whole game. But right. you guys played some fantastic stuff, and I remember listening to their coach afterwards saying that it was really nice to see a proper football inside play. And last week you went away to. Now you'll have to excuse me. I think they're State League 2, Hume City State League 2. Away at Hume Hume's ground, and you won 6-0. So it's certainly boding very well for you guys very early on. You've got some fantastic players within the squad. Obviously, Laura HERCEG up front is scoring goals for fun for you, but you've got a lot of other good girls within that group of players that are certainly showing their colours, Ivan.
Yeah, that's right. Thanks, Craig. It certainly is. I mean, it's certainly the initial game against Hampton East Brighton was very positive. The fact that we sort of got on top of that team fairly early, and credit to the rest of the girls that they didn't really change their shape and their formation. They played the style, and that looked really attractive from the sidelines, as you put it. But heading into certainly last week's game against Hume, wasn't really sure what to expect. We've certainly not come up against a State League 3 or a State League 2 side in that case, and particularly up at ABD Stadium where the surface was
fantastic, isn't it?
Amazing. So certainly the girls benefited from that. Were able to push the ball around, and we came on top. After a little while, it was certainly pretty tight in the first half, and then gradually we started to penetrate and cause more opportunities and converted. So it's been a great build-up.
Now, Ivan, I guess a lot of Melbourne clubs are trying to do their homework on North Geelong and can't find any information. That's simply because for the last few years, North Geelong has actually spent a little bit of time, I guess, in the Geelong region competition. After at one stage, I think getting up as high as State League 1 several years ago. Mate, tell us your experience as a coach, but also your players' experiences going from that community setting where you're playing against Rangers and Deakin, who are also competing in the Nike FC Cup, to coming up against teams from Melbourne in higher divisions. And I guess the second part of that question, where do you expect to be playing this year?
First part of your question is, I'm not surprised with the standard and the quality of certainly what we've been able to showcase against State League opposition. I think for a long time, the Geelong Regional League has been a pretty strong league. And certainly when you look at, say the likes of Geelong Rangers, Deakin Ducks, and even ourselves and some of the other teams in probably the top 6 would be very competitive against some of those State League sides. So again, I'm not really surprised with some of those results that we've all been experiencing as we're playing now in this Nike Cup. again, as we're heading into this week's round, it's going to be interesting. I think we've got a lot of well-balanced players within the structure that we have. So I'm not going to disclose too much. I think we're going to be pretty hopeful of a reasonable performance. And I think
well, you're not going to give us any. You're not going to give us any trade secrets. Not going to give.
At all. I think we've been training under the veil of secrecy up at Elko Park with all those trees that hide the training ground, as you know, Craig.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think, we're well balanced. We've got reasonable depth in all areas. We're also got, an amazing group of under-17s players that have really, through the course of the Night Cup, have had a bit of a taste of state league women's football, and they've really performed. And we're shocked and surprised, I guess, in a positive way, around some of what they've been able to perform on the park.
Yeah, and just looking at your squad of players, there's some great players in there, and like I said, I've been privy enough to see them play. But you also have Amelia is I hope I pronounced that right, Sporanovic, who's obviously born into football with Laura being her younger sister. Is that right?
Younger, that's right.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. So, and what position does she play for you?
So Amelia is a defensive centre back, defensive midfielder sort of role.
Yeah, perfect.
She's been. It's great to see her back at the club. I think certainly that family name is synonymous with North Geelong historically, and I think to actually afford her the opportunity to provide something back to the club, not only just for senior women's football, but the effect that she has and the leadership that she provides to all the younger girls coming through, it's amazing. Yeah, great.
And hopefully, with the game kicking off at 5:00 on Sunday after the NPL Junior Boys home game against Werribee, that hopefully they stay around and you guys get a good crowd as you did for the game against East Hampton. If you are around the North Geelong area and you want to see, a State League 1 side and a potential State League 2, State League 3 side doing battle, then head down to Elko Park. I'm sure it's going to be a fantastic game of football, and hopefully the weather's a little bit better than it was for your first game. And last week, because it threw it down last week as well, didn't it?
That's right. That's right. So, yeah.
Good stuff. Well, we'll leave you at that. Ivan, all the very best for the game on Sunday, as well as the season ahead. It's going to be it's going to be an historic one, I guess, for the Warriors returning to State League football after a few years. So it's going to be a great one. We look.
Oh, dropped off there, Tonch.
No, I'm still back on. I'm still here.
Yeah, you're there. I think Tonch has dropped off. So we'll listen. As if you can't hear him, just thanks for coming on, mate, and all the best on the weekend, and hopefully we'll speak to you in the next round.
Thanks, guys.
All right, okay. Not a problem. All the best.
That was Ivan HERCEG from the North Geelong Warriors, and they'll be coming up against Keilor Park, and there's the fixtures there on the screen. And Craig will just jump off the screen now, and he will try and get the next guest, who's going to be the Keilor Park women's coach, Louis TRAJCEVSKI. So looking forward to hearing the other end of the view of the combatants there. But let's go quickly through some of the round results, round two fixtures, particularly with regards to a lot of the Western suburban clubs. We've got the Melbourne Knights at home to Brighton, Spring Hills FC also home to Glen Waverley, Ballarat at Soccer Club. They host Mazenod FC. St Albans Saints will be also there. They'll be taking on Craigieburn City. Beaumaris are hosting Lara United. And then we've also got Ballarat City taking on Geelong Rangers. That should be a good game there. Another State League 1 side coming up against a Geelong region powerhouse unit there. Then we've also got Avondale travelling away to Latrobe United. North Geelong Warriors, as we mentioned, versus Keilor Park, I guess, will be the pick of the action. And now on the line, we've got Louis TRAJCEVSKI, who happens to be the Keilor Park women's coach. Louis, do we have you on the line?
Absolutely. Gentlemen, how are you doing?
We're very well. Thank you. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Now, mate, big game. We've heard from Ivan HERCEG, the North Geelong Warriors coach, and the hosts of Sunday's big round 2 blockbuster clash. What about yourselves now? You're entering the competition at this stage. How's the squad looking at this early stage of the season?
Look, we've had a handful of practice matches, and we've been tracking pretty well at the moment. But at this time of the season, who knows? To be honest, but look, we've been pretty happy with the way things have been going. It's just been one of those seasons, especially after last year as well. So I think a lot of teams are in that same boat where they're not too sure exactly what's going to happen and what the competition is and all. But from our point of view, look, we're really happy. We've been able to recruit some fantastic players, and on top of that, retain a majority of our squad from last year. So we're really looking forward to the clash on Sunday. And it's our first really our official match, and
yep.
Almost feels like such a long time ago being able to have a game. So we're really excited about it. So we can't wait.
Yeah, and how long have you been involved with the ladies section there at Keilor Park?
2 years now. Well, actually, I can probably say 1 year because my involvement with the senior women started last year.
Uh-huh.
I've been involved at Keilor now for probably close to 20 years. So I've been part of the furniture there now, and I've almost done a full circle. I started my coaching career with the under 16 girls, and then got involved with the men, and been involved with the men for a while. And to be honest with you, it's been fantastic to be involved with the girls. So really excited, and really can't wait for the business end to start.
Yeah, and you have one of our listeners and one of our sponsors from last year. You got Simon Camilleri, who's working alongside you, running the under 17s. But I believe you work very, very close together with the 17s and the senior ladies. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. That's been one of our main goals, is to be able to really fast track a lot of our younger girls. So we all train together on Tuesdays, and that way we find the younger ladies can learn a lot more from for the more experienced females, and that way we can start to fast track their development. But yeah, Simon's been absolutely awesome. I always have a bit of a joke with Simon, because every time I have a bit of a walk with him somewhere, there'll be somebody that will come up and say, "Simon," everybody knows Simon. I can't believe it. So he's been absolutely fantastic for us, and the way he's fitted into the coaching ranks at Keilor, he's been fantastic. But look. At the end of the day, we see development as a really important thing for us. Keilor's been around in the female scene for over 20 years, and we just need to continue to get better and stronger, and Simon's a massive part of it, for sure.
Now, mate, obviously there has been a fair bit of, restructuring happening in the women's game, and a lot more to come after the Football Victoria conducted their women's review or competitions review. And I guess one of the things that we've seen is the emergence of this new competition called the Victorian Premier League Women's, which is supposed to be a little bit of a bridge between NPL and state leagues. And I guess with expansion mooted in the next few years, there's talk that there could be an NPL 2 division or competition. Is that something that figures in Keilor Park's plans as far as the women's section to be a part of an expanded NPLW competition in years to come?
Absolutely. So any time that we can promote the female football game, especially with the female World Cup in Australia around the corner, is a massive thing. Like I briefly mentioned just before, Keilor's got a massive history with female football. We're continually trying to push it. For us, State 1, look, it'll be a very competitive year because we've got some really strong teams in our league, but we're going to really try and push for promotion this year. But look, I think anywhere where Football Victoria can really push the female game is crucial, and we'll definitely be one of the ones out there just trying to keep pushing the game, keep supporting female football, and just try and do our best, really.
Yeah, and you look at the number of female players now, Louis. If you look at, I can't remember how many leagues there are, but I think there's 6 leagues in state league football of women or girls football. So that's phenomenal in itself. And only in the last sort of 3 to 4 years has it really established itself as a serious sport for girls. My daughter plays herself, and I know she loves going. I wouldn't say she loves going training, but she certainly loves going to the games. But it's really refreshing to see the girls playing, and as you just touched on, we've got the World Cup coming here. It gets no bigger than that. So if there's an opportunity, as we've said on this show a number of times, for women's football to really start establishing itself, it's now, because once the World Cup's gone, it'll be too late.
Yeah, absolutely, and I really do see female football. Look, and it's come leaps and bounds anyway. So over the last 4 or 5 years, but I really do see it going to the next level the next couple of years.
Yeah,
and we want to be a big part of it as well. Yeah, we want to keep attracting more female participation. We've tried to do that a lot, especially this year, and we're going to continue to push it. We're aiming to get, more experienced coaches and better coaches, and obviously Simon's a big part of that. And yeah, look, just can't wait, to be honest. Can't wait for the season. We want to put 2020 behind us, and really, it's just so exciting to get to be back up and running again. And for us, it's almost felt like a little bit of a dream, to be honest. It's like, last year was one of those years which was like a bit of a rebuilding year for us, and we did a lot of work in the background with a lot of Zoom calls and training sessions and challenges for all the girls, and that actually brought us closer together as a team. And now just really can't wait to start playing games. Like even these practice matches, they felt like a bit of a dream, to be honest, but now the real things are starting, the real games are starting, and can't wait for the cup game this week with North Geelong. It should be awesome. Can't wait.
Good. That leads us on to the question. So, what's the format for this weekend for you guys? Is it taking it seriously to really get out there and try and get into the next round, or is it still your pre-season? You're trying to get the girls ready for the season. Where are Keilor Park in that? And if Ivan's still listening, how are you going to play against them? Because I expect you to tell us not. Well, I thought I'd ask you anyway. 6 up front, and 2 midfield. Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Or do I say we park the bus because we're away from home and try to get extra time and penalties? Look, the season's not too far away now anyway. Yeah, so it's been. The pre-season's been good. It's been a gradual process. We've tried not to go too full on from the beginning, because I've found that with a whole year out of the game, there's a lot more soft tissue.
Yeah.
It's just going to be a lot more careful with the way we train. It is a process for us, so we want to make sure that we're peaking, pretty much as much as I like to turn around and say we're ready and 100% and 100% ready to go this week. I don't want to tell the opposition too much. I'm sure they're listening, but at the end of the day, we want to peak halfway through the season because it is a long season. But then saying that, we're going to come up there with a strong side. We've got some good young juniors that have come into the side this week, because not everyone's available. But we'll be given 100%, and again, can't wait to go there. And North Geelong have got an amazing history, and I have to admit I haven't been there for a while, so really looking forward to go there. I have another thing. I have to admit, the 5 p.m. kickoff is. I was hoping it was going to be a little bit earlier. But
yeah, look,
anyway,
they've got all the
take it.
NPL juniors playing down there this weekend, so that, and obviously they want to get you on that main pitch. Yeah, look, I'm certainly looking forward to it. I'm going to come down on Sunday afternoon and have a look at that one. I think it'll be a fantastic game. So yeah.
Louis, wishing you all the very best for Sunday and also the season ahead. It's great to talk to you and great to get an insight into a coach's mind ahead of a very, very exciting season. But as you said, it's all felt like a dream up until now. But Sunday, it all turns to reality. So wishing you all the best once again for season 2021.
Thank you, gentlemen. It's been fun talking to you. So I'm looking forward to hopefully, Craig, I'll catch up with you on Sunday.
Will do.
Look after yourself, and thanks for the opportunity to talk to you guys.
Not a problem. All the best, Louis.
See you guys. Bye.
Look, that was Louis TRAJCEVSKI from the Keilor Park women's team. We're going to take a very, very short break. When we return, he's the man, the guest, our former colleague, and certainly also he's currently colleague in many ways, Josh Parrish. He'll be coming to us live from the Jack Edwards Reserve over in Oakley, where Oakley Cannons will host Green Gully tonight. Don't go away, folks.
Are you opening a new business or want to improve your current exposure to drive more customers? Then talk to our team at Principal Signs. We have over 30 years' experience of helping businesses like yours stand out from the crowd. We can design, manufacture and install a range of signs, either permanent or temporary, at an affordable price without compromising on quality. A signage supplier with a reliable reputation. You can trust the team at Principal Signs to ensure that you make the best decision for your business and your budget. We are passionate about giving you a standout experience in customer service and ensure that we exceed your expectations every time. For more information, find us on Facebook or check out our testimonials and work examples on www.principalsigns.com.au or call Ray on 0406 728873 for a quote. Mention this ad for a 10% discount off your first order.
Welcome back to the Football Out West Show, episode 52. We have been speaking all about the
10% discount off your.
We have been speaking all about the women up until now in the Nike FC Cup, but now it's time to talk about the men, and it's the NPL football. Craig, we've got our next guest. He's eagerly waiting his opportunity to come on the show, and we're going to bring him on straight away, all the way from the Jack Edwards Reserve. There he is, Mr. Josh Parrish.
I bet he's got a Slovakian in his hand.
I don't yet. I held off. I was sorely tempted, Craig, but I thought I'll wait until after the show to eat so that I don't have meat in my teeth during this segment. But yeah, I can already smell it. They go through several tons of the stuff every match day here. I'm sitting in the social club, which looks quiet now, but closer to kickoff, absolutely goes off down here at Oakley, and I'm excited to sink my teeth into this match and to the pre-match feed.
Yeah, and lots of people won't know, but you're not only a host on Football Nation Radio, you're also a football Victoria commentator, but you're also a food critic, aren't you?
Just a bit. I was trying to bring NPL to the masses, and I found the most persuasive way to get people down to games is to advertise the canteen options on offer, and then you can start sort of slipping into football. So I think I've already convinced my girlfriend to come down to a Dandenong City match just for the pork belly roll.
There you go. You've heard it first. Pork belly roll. Forget the football at Dandy City. It's the pork belly roll that does it.
Yeah. Now, Josh, before we move on to tonight's game, it's going to be an absolute classic. Oakley Cannons versus the Green Gully. Mate, 2020 was a really rough year for all of us, I guess, and for Football Nation Radio, obviously going off air for a long time. But you're back now. There's a lot of noise there in the background, which is great. The excitement at the studio with yourself, Ed, Lockie, and some of the other guys, it must be absolutely fantastic to be back on the airway.
Yeah, I mean, we tried to stay in touch. We went off air for a little while. We did shows from home for like 7 or 8 months, which, was not as fun as seeing your colleagues in person. Once we get back to the studio, everyone's just been so pumped, and we've had new shows starting. We've had a new show with Western United, which has been really exciting, getting players in the studio and doing some more creative pre-recorded segments and things. We went and had ramen with Tomoki Imai and had coffee with Ike Guarachena. So the motivation levels are really great. The team morale has really taken an uptick since we returned to the studio in December. And, the MPL being back just adds that extra level because so many of us work on the commentary roster.
Yeah, now, so you're involved now with a couple of those club podcasts from the western suburbs, including the Avondale Show and also the Knights Train. So you've come on board the Knights Train, but you're also involved with the Preston Fans podcast. And we were talking about this earlier tonight. Great to have Preston back in the NPL, albeit NPL 3. But were you at that game last Friday?
I wouldn't have missed that one for the world. The attendance was absolutely insane. It was at least 3,000 people there, I think. Yeah. Whatever the official attendance was, it was heaving. And they scored a last-minute goal to win the game. It was just perfect. Alex Schiavo coming back from an ACL injury was the guy who scored it, and couldn't have happened to a nicer bloke, to be honest. And they're just on the up and up with all the construction that's going on at BT Connor, the infrastructure improvements, the new lights have gone in. That was the first night game ever at BT Connor Reserve in 60 years. Wow. I spoke to one of the club sponsors who's been there a long time after the match, and he said he hasn't seen the place like that since the 2007 VPL preliminary final against Green Gully, funnily enough. Wow. And I think they're going to get that pretty much every week now. It's insane. The Preston bandwagon is definitely one to jump on if you haven't already.
Yeah, and I posted something up. And actually, just going back to the Welsh theme to the show tonight, another fellow Welshman actually scored in that game as well. Chris David, who's well known within the Preston circles, who's come back to the club having had a couple of seasons away from the club. But just going back to, I posted something up on Facebook as a fan, and I think a couple of people took it the wrong way, Josh, where obviously after they scored their last-minute goal last weekend against Melbourne City, they went wild, the fans went wild, the final whistle went, all the supporters were jumping on the players were jumping in the stands, and I actually posted up, it's fantastic to see Preston won the league tonight. Wow. If I did, it went absolutely bonkers. But look, the atmosphere must have been fun. If you can't get yourself up to play in front of 2,000-3,000 people, week in, week out, and we talked about it earlier on, they're playing this evening against Springvale White Eagles up at City Vista Reserve. I would imagine there's going to be a very, very healthy crowd watching that one.
Yeah, I mean, the excitement is such that it may as well have won the league with those celebrations. Alex Schiavo was telling us on the show last night, the Lions Den on FNR. It's an 8 p.m. Thursday slot, and he was telling, a little plug there. He was telling us that he actually got pinned up against the fence as fans and players sort of converged. Yeah. And he actually had pretty serious bruising on his ribs. He couldn't do the post-match interview with the club media because he couldn't breathe after that. But he's all right now. Thankfully, he hadn't cracked any. And he said, we asked him if he'd do it again, and he said, yeah, every time.
But isn't that great? Isn't that what football should be about? It's been a long time. Unfortunately, I wasn't here in the heyday of the VPLs and, the national leagues. Yeah. I wasn't here. We sort of always saw it in the UK, but never really got into it because it was too far away. But, it's great to see clubs like Preston, who are historically one of the biggest clubs in Australia, now back on the route, on the ladder to where they should be.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Victorian leagues are stronger with them, and I think the sooner they return to the top flight, the better. But whether they're in the top flight or not, they're going to be putting their hand up for national second division consideration because they've got the infrastructure coming in now. The size of the community, the sponsorship that they have. They've got like 100 different sponsors. It's nuts. It's a really strong club, and obviously the fan base is the backbone of that. So I think there's at least 4 clubs in Victoria who could conceivably put their hand up for second division selection. And for me, it's South, Knights, Heidelberg, and Preston. Maybe a few more depending on the size of the league, but those are the big 4 for me.
Absolutely. Now, Josh, let's turn our attention to tonight's game. Oakley Cannons coming up against Green Gully. Green Gully, a little bit wounded. They're licking their wounds after last week's loss to Heidelberg 2-1. And as a result, they surrendered top spot to the Melbourne Knights, another Western suburban team. What can we expect from tonight's big clash?
I don't think anyone was really expecting Heidelberg to do it last week after Gully pulled off such a massive win with 10 men against Avondale in match day 3. But they got what I like to call Katsakist in that the Heidelberg United team is just so resilient no matter who they've got on the pitch, and they managed to come back from the dead in that game. So Gully, they're a funny club. They tend to do well when they're the underdogs and people write them off. And I think a lot of people have tipped Oakley this week, so I'm tempted to lean towards Gully tonight as a result, because they play some of their best football with their backs against the wall.
I actually watched the game last week as well, as I said earlier on, and actually myself and Morgan both watched it, and we were both really impressed with how Green Gully played. They're a very, very good football inside, but unfortunately, Heidelberg struggled for a fair part of the game, but obviously 2 wins on the bounce for Heidelberg, having as you said there, Josh, come back from the dead against Altona would have given them a massive lift going into last week's game, and obviously they came away with the away win. So. But Green Gully have a chance to go back top of the league this evening if they can beat Chris's old Oakley Cannons.
Yeah, and Oakley have slightly underwhelmed for me so far, given the talent that they've got in their squad. I mean, there's 2 FB gold medalists, the 2018 and 2019 Players of the Year, and Tyson Holmes and Joe Guest in that midfield. And they haven't scored enough goals. They haven't really clicked just yet. Only 4 goals in 4 games is not really good enough when you've got the attacking quartet that they have: Wade Decker, Joe Knowles, Matt Thurtell. It's a murderer's row of just incredible names at this level, and I haven't really seen them take off just yet. But knowing CT, knowing how he coaches, he's going to want to peak at the right time, and maybe the first 5 weeks isn't that. They'll probably find their strongest form heading into finals, I'd imagine.
Well, you look at that. You look at the league as it is at the moment, and nobody would have expected to end it on City. Nobody would have expected Altona Magic to be with them. Yes, Hume City down there in 9th position. So you're probably right. You're not going to win the league in the first 4 weeks of the season. So it's about getting the 4 results out of the way and getting yourself ready into a position where you can really.
Yeah, it's a league where anybody can beat anybody. I mean, we've spoken to a few of the new arrivals this season from the Knights, and they've just said the difference in level between here and New South Wales or other MPLs around the country is the intensity and the fact that there's really no hierarchy. Anybody can beat anybody, and that's what makes it so entertaining, I think.
Yeah. Well, speaking of another top game involving the Knights, they come up against Avondale tomorrow at Avenger Park. Should be a fantastic clash. You're also involved in the calling of that game, eh, Josh?
Yes, indeed. Alongside my FNI colleague Nick DeBano, we're going to be calling that, and I can't wait for that game. Game of the weekend for me. First versus third. A big rivalry between those 2 clubs, which I'm kind of caught in the middle of in my racing.
Involved with both podcasts, yes.
Yeah, and the Knights. They've improved out of sight this season. It's unbelievable. They were in the doldrums after 5 rounds, and honestly, the COVID suspension of the league really came at a good time for them, because they were playing some horrible stuff and it just wasn't working out with the coaching department. Several players, I think, needed to leave the club. They've turned over the squad pretty heavily this season, and a rookie head coach, Steve Bebbage, has handled the pressure with such consummate ease. He's played a much more progressive style of football. They can really keep the ball now and generate chances, and they're going to give Avondale a serious test. I'm leaning towards the Knights in that one.
Now, Steve Bebic, his nickname is Beba, and in Croatian translates to baby. He is a bit of a baby when it comes to being a coach, but he handles himself with so much maturity in some of those interviews on the night train. Monday nights, 8 o'clock, straight after the the Geelong Region Soccer Show. He must be one of the new wave of coaches that are coming through the ranks in the NPL Victoria competition.
Yeah, he certainly is, and look, the way they played their football this season, barring the St Albans away game, which is kind of a unique set of circumstances. St Albans are always massively up for that one because it's kind of their grand final every year. They really play with a lot of intensity, especially at Churchill Reserve. Excluding that game, he's shown the confidence to play a double pivot of Anthony Giselle and James McGarry, who are both ball-playing midfielders. And Knights coaches in the past, I think, wouldn't have been brave enough to play two attack-minded players in those two spots without the presence of a real dedicated defensive midfield player. So they're so good on the ball. I think they will be welcoming a couple of players back from injury just for depth purposes, but the starting lineup that he's shown faith in has been really, really solid and good to watch. And the combination play going forward has exceeded anything they really put together in 2019 or 2020.
And who's your tip for that game?
Yeah, I'm leaning towards the Knights just because Avondale still have a few players to come back from injury. I don't think they're going to hit their peak until they have Yite Towns back in the centre of midfield. I just think he's an incredible player and just glides past challenges in tight areas. And they're really missing him. They've had to deploy the likes of Joey Katabian and Liam Boland in midfield positions this season just because of the extent of the injury crisis there. But they'll hit their straps in round 7 or 8, and they'll be title contenders. At the moment, they're just trying to get any results they can. Dandy City in last round did not put up enough on the fight, but against better opposition, I think they could struggle. Against the Knights, I think it's going to be tight. I'm going 2-1 to the Knights for me.
2-1 to the Knights, perfect. So before we let you go and sample that Slovakia cooking there behind you, the goings on down at Altona Magic, Josh, and what your thoughts are around obviously the rumours that John McAfee's no longer in the club, and what do you make of what's going on at Paisley Park?
Yeah, look, I think Jonesy was never a good fit for the role. They needed maybe more of a tactician. Jonesy is a great man motivator, but he's not really a details guy. And with the amount of new players they had coming in, they needed somebody who could craft a system from scratch. And that hasn't happened. But then again, pulling the trigger this early, I think is a bit of a knee-jerk reaction. And I don't know who they're going to get in to replace him. There have been all sorts of rumours.
Yeah,
I've heard they've spoken to Ernie Merrick and Scott Miller. They've tried everybody, but I'm not sure who's going to end up taking the role because it seems like a bit of a poison chalice at the moment.
Yeah. Josh, thank you very much for joining us. If you want to tune into that live stream, it's the NPL Victoria Facebook page and as well as the YouTube channel as well. We look forward to a weekend of some great NPL Victoria action. And, mate, all the very, very best to you. It's been an absolute pleasure catching up, certainly for old time's sake, but also just to discuss everything football again.
All right, great stuff, guys. Great to catch up, and I'm sure I'll speak to you again soon.
Absolutely.
Have a good evening, mate.
Cheers.
That was Josh Parrish. He's a young fella, but he's very articulate. And I'll tell you what, Craig, and I'll tell you what, folks, he's the future of commentating here in Australia. He's one day going to make it, I reckon, on the big stage. Yeah,
he's a very intelligent lad and certainly knows his football, Tonch, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, we're going to take a very, very quick break, folks. Don't go away. On the other side of the break, we'll be talking to our last guest for tonight, and that is the Altona East Phoenix president, Leigh Carra. Don't go away, folks.
Hands for Hire is a free platform that connects people looking for more work in their downtime, and also businesses who want to list jobs on a casual basis. Are you finding that you have spare time and could actually be earning extra money? Or do you need a hand on a casual basis and don't want to employ a full-time worker? Hands for Hire is the app to help you fill that time yourself without paying huge fees to recruiting agents or labour hire companies. Signing up is completely free, without any obligation.
Welcome back to Football Out West Show. It is very much into extra time now. We've gone quite a fair bit over time, but we've got one more guest, ladies and gentlemen. Don't go away. Hopefully on the line we've got our next guest, Craig.
We have, and all the way from our pre-mentioned Altona, we've got the Altona East Phoenix president, Mr. Leigh Carra. Good evening, Leigh.
Good evening, guys. How's it going?
Very good, Lee. Thank you very much for joining us here on the Football Out West show. We've spoken about the NPL. We've spoken about the Nike FC Cup, and now it's a chance to touch on the State League men competition. Isn't it great to have football back after last week?
Yes. Very, very good. Everyone's all excited. So, it's been really good.
And obviously, it's been a long time since any football's been played anywhere, Lee. But how good was it to get football back last week in your first game back in State League 2?
Yeah, no, it's been really good. As soon as we've been allowed back on the pitch, especially at our club, it's been nothing but positive vibes from the juniors all the way up to the seniors. So everyone's just really excited, just wants to have a kick. And yeah, good to see matches come back too. The competitiveness makes it a little bit better. So, yeah, we're looking forward to the season.
Yeah, perfect. And obviously over the last couple of years, there's been a lot of work going on behind the scenes down at the club with, new women's team, more junior teams. There's been a big emphasis on trying to get young players to the club. How's that been going for you? Because I know you work very tirelessly down at that club, almost single-handedly at times over the last couple of years to keep it all together. How has the hard work sort of started to pay off for you guys?
Oh, it's been really, really good. It was tough at the start, but I've been blessed with a lot of good helpers and a lot of good volunteers and a lot of guys and women jumping on our committee, making the workload a little bit less. But, like I said, Craig, we started with maybe one team a couple of years ago. Mm-hmm. Now we're going to have 8. And we've been searching for a women's team for a couple of years, and now we've got a senior women's team, which is coached by Lauren Harries. Absolutely fantastic coach, fantastic person. Mm-hmm. And that's going really, really good too. Squad's ready to go. And they've the girls have come on board, invested into the club too, which is really, really good to see. A few of them are even coaching one of the junior teams, which is
fantastic.
Fantastic, yeah, because we've got a lot of, we've got a fair few little girls playing in our mini roos. So they've sort of taken that team on to make them feel a lot more comfortable in our game. And yeah, it's working out really well.
Now, we can see the results there on screen from the first round, the opening round. We'll go through some of the key results. Geelong Rangers defeating Moreland United 3-2 away. FC Strathmore, also big winners over Kevin Thuma's Mill Park 3-0. Away from home, Western Suburbs and Epping City splitting the points, as did Hoppers Crossing in Westgate at Grange Reserve. The first historical match under lights there. And Hume United defeating Albion Rovers 3-1. Now, we'll make special mention of that game in a sec. But unfortunately, Altona East at the top there, going down 1-0 to LEIGH United. LEIGH United, are they a tough side? Will they be figuring for promotion up, come season's end?
Oh, I'm not too sure this year. It's really, really hard to gauge every team after the first round. So we're going to have to wait till 4 or 5 rounds to see where everyone's at. It's just been really difficult, especially with the year off. But our result on the weekend was 2-1. We lost. But they were good. I thought we were really good too. We just maybe struggled to score some goals, especially in the second half with a few opportunities. But credit to LEIGH, they defended it, with everything they got, and they got the 3 points, unfortunately for us.
Yeah, and who's coaching your senior men's team this year, Lee?
It's our senior coach is Terry Antoniadis.
Okay, yep.
Yeah, Nick Efterio is the assistant coach.
Yeah, and have you had many players come through the ranks this year to join the club?
Yeah, we've actually got a few youngsters. We've got about 4 or 5 youngsters that we're really wrapped about coming on board. A few of them are starting 11 too, which is really, really good.
Good.
They've got some promise, so hopefully they stay healthy all year and they get the experience they need. But our reserve boys are doing well too. They're coached by Clive. We've got some good talent there too. So I'm looking forward to seeing everybody in the next couple of weeks and seeing how they play and hopefully again, they stay healthy.
Now, it's a tough one this week up against Hume United. 7 p.m. kickoff there at Laura Douglas Reserve. Hume United did win 3-1 in their opening game. Tough game, but nonetheless, this is an opportunity to get the first points of the season, Lee.
Yeah, it'll be fantastic. But like I said, it's going to be tough over there.
Yep.
They're coming off a big win, especially a derby win too for them. So they'll be going with a lot of confidence. But our boys will be confident too. Like we did play well last week. The boys showed a lot of character, a lot of fight. If they bring that kind of intensity, I'm sure we'll be all right. We've just got to put the ball in the back of the net, and we'll be ready to go.
Perfect. Well, listen, we thank you for coming on. I know, and I've been trying to get you on for quite some time. So thankfully, we've got you on. We're all about trying to get clubs to come on and self-promote themselves. That's why we do what we are. And I've got a bit of a soft spot for you guys down there because I know over the years I've got to know you, and you're a bloody hardworking guy. And I know you've kept that club going for a number of years when it could have gone totally the other way, Lee. So massive respect for you. All the very best for this season. Thanks for coming on, and hopefully we'll catch up with you later on in the season.
Thanks, boys. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much, and enjoy.
Good on you, Lee. Lee Cara, the president of the Altona East Phoenix Soccer Club. Mate, we're going to have to get that man back on one day very shortly, Craig, because he seems like he's got a really interesting story to tell about the club there. But mate, that brings us to the end of the show. It's been a fantastic show. We've really covered almost every facet of Victorian football. If we were going to go into the juniors and community side of things, and even we didn't get a proper chance to look at all the state league fixtures, mate, we'd need 2 hours, I reckon. Not an hour.
Yeah, look, it's
20 minutes.
Yeah, we punch a lot in an hour and 20 minutes, Tonch. So we try and keep it as busy as we can to give as much information to out there as we can. But yeah, thoroughly enjoyable show again tonight. Some great guests and some great comments. So yeah, we'll keep doing it.
Absolutely, mate. On that note, wishing you all the very best for the weekend. You're involved with a couple of games, and no doubt it should be. Hopefully, the weather should be reasonably good. I know they're forecasting rain tomorrow, but enjoy the weekend, mate. I know you're off.
You too.
Yeah, it should be. It's a very busy weekend, but hoping to get out and watch a game or two this weekend.
Perfect. Well, I might see you at North on Sunday. Failing that, I shall catch up with you sometime next week.
Good on you. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for being a part of today's show, episode 52, and it was sponsored tonight by Sunbury Indoor Sports and indeed George Cross Soccer Club. Good night, and thank you for being a part of tonight's show.